Hello, our topic today is all about internships and everything that you need to know about getting one and how to succeed once you have one. We're very lucky to have Dr. Koana Johnson with us today. She's the Director of Internships in the College of Business. She is going to share some important information with us. You can ask her your questions in the chat. In addition, we're fortunate to be joined by two current College of Business students who have recently completed their internships. We have Adam Solomon, who's a marketing major, and he's a senior. We also have Juliana Di Clemente, and she's an MIS and marketing major and is also a senior. They're going to share some of their internship experiences with us. You can also ask them some questions in the chat. Hello, Adam and Juliana, and welcome, Dr. Johnson. So let's begin with Dr. Johnson. Can you tell us what Director of Internships is all about and what do you do for students?
Yes, I'm Kawana Johnson, and as the Internship Director in the College of Business, my main job is to help business students find internship experiences and also help them gain academic credit for those internships once they're secured. So within our office, we're a small staff, but we encourage students to either stop by the office or email us or call us, and we'll be happy to set up Zoom appointments so that we can work with you one-on-one on either one of those issues.
Thank you very much for that. So at this point, let's ask Adam to tell us a little bit about his internship experience. Thank you for joining us today, Adam, and we're looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Thank you guys for having me. So basically, the internship experience that I've had it lasted 2 years. Basically, after my freshman year, I took an internship as an international sales intern with a company called the HJ family of companies. They're based out of St. Louis, actually. But during summer 2019, they actually sent me over to our Barcelona, Spain office. So I really got some good experience, incredible experience actually with that. And continued through that. I continued to work with them, over any breaks that we had, Christmas breaks, stuff like that. And when COVID and everything hit, obviously, I had already accepted to go back to Barcelona for summer 2020. But with that, they were actually gracious enough to let me start at the beginning of April, actually, when all of our classes went online. So I started a little bit early with them and worked remote throughout the summer and then throughout the fall of this past year.
Okay, well, that sounds very interesting. So could you tell us one thing that was unexpected or that surprised you about your internship?
One thing that definitely surprised me about my internship was the scale of the company that I worked at. I had no clue how big it actually was. And another thing that was just a silver lining with it is I really got great experience to kind of see every single part of the business, not just the sales part, but what they did in their manufacturing process, all the way to, accounting. And just with that international business environment too, the way that they do things is so much different that it really kind of gave me definitely like an incredible perspective just going forward with any type of job that I wanted to go for.
Okay, so you've got a very broad range of experiences then.
Yes.
Your internship. So what were your expectations, during the application process, but before you actually started? And did they differ from the reality once you got there?
I would say like in the process of when this all was coming together, specifically with HJ where I worked at, I was the first person that they had ever sent over to like an international office of theirs. So that was like I think it was uncharted territory for everyone. And I think that, in the process, it was like, I remember, in spring 2019, like April rolled around, I'm supposed to be going to work in Spain in 2 months. And I was emailing, like the HR person, I'm like, hey, like, am I going? I don't have a plane ticket. I don't have anything like lined up yet, that type of thing. And so that was really interesting. I definitely had to be very proactive about it when I was making sure that this all was happening and going forward. Because it was something that I was really pushing, really wanted to make sure everything worked out, without a hitch.
Well, that sounds like good advice. You you didn't leave it up to them to do make all the arrangements and to make sure it happened. You had to follow through on that yourself. I think
Exactly.
probably good, very good general advice, whether you have an international internship or it's just down the road, to keep on top of things. So thank you for that, Adam. We'll see if our we have any questions for you maybe a little later. I have another question here for Dr. Johnson, which is how late is too late to enroll in the class once the semester starts?
We are able to enroll students up until the third week of the semester. So if you do not secure your internship by the last day of drop ad, don't panic. We still have a little leeway there to be able to get you enrolled in a course if you so desire.
Okay, thank you for that. That's good to know. So it's you have a little window of opportunity there if you decide pretty quickly now that you want one. So another question here is, how can I make sure that my internship or the company that I'm applying with is legitimate, and how do I spot a scam?
Well, when you're looking for a position, there are several key things that I like to pay attention to. If anybody's asking you for money up front, you should be cautious about that. You shouldn't have to pay an application fee for an internship. You shouldn't have to pay any type of money. If they're trying to pay you before you've even done any work, that's also a red flag that you should pay attention to. Also, email. If they're communicating with you through a work email and then all of a sudden it changes over to Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, something that doesn't look professional, then that might be a sign that something suspicious is going on. So I would pay attention to all of those things. And whenever you're in doubt, check with one of us. Stop by my office or give me a call, schedule a Zoom call, and we can chat even further. Or we can also direct you to our career advisor, Rebecca, who works with College of Business students to give you more information on those areas. So we definitely don't want any of you accepting something or being suspicious about something, but not saying anything and then going forward with it and things turn bad. So even if there's a hint of suspicion there, let someone know and we can try to work with you to figure it out.
Okay, well, I think that's great to hear. So the Rebecca that you mentioned, is that Rebecca in the Career Center that works
Yes.
with College of Business students? Okay, I think that's a great safety net for everybody, because a lot of our students this is probably the first time they've done this, and there are a lot of things that they may not know about, but so they know that they can come back to you and they can kind of get help and support there. So I think that's very reassuring. So, okay, let's, if Juliana is there, I'm sure she is, let's turn to Juliana for a moment and hear a little bit about your internship experience.
Hi, everyone. I'm Juliana. Thank you for having me. So this past summer, I was a brand advocate analyst for the Home Depot, and the corporate offices are in Atlanta, Georgia, but because of the pandemic, it did go to a fully virtual program. And the way the Home Depot works is they have an entire internship program. They hire about 200 interns. So when you apply, there's a ton of applicants, but they'll place you into whichever team that you end up applying for. So that was kind of like a highlight for me. I really wanted to be alongside a bunch of other interns at a big company that was definitely on the top of my list. So that's why I ended up applying directly on the company website. And so I don't know how they're going to do it this summer for anybody that would be specifically interested for the Home Depot, but they do offer housing on Georgia Tech. So it's a whole program and there's a lot of other students there. So I just thought that was a highlight. On my experience, it was virtual, but still, I feel like I got a decent amount of the experience as well.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. So they have a whole program, that's a whole different kind of internship. It just shows the variety that people can experience when they head off on an internship. So I guess another question I have for you, is there anything that you know now that you wish you knew, before you began your internship?
I guess I wish I knew how heavily involved I was going to be using Excel and PowerPoint. I know for me, I took the required CGS classes for the School of Business, I want to say freshman and sophomore year. And then when I started the internship, I mean, I was probably on Excel 6 to 7 hours out of my 8-hour workday. So I would say for anybody pursuing something in business, like an internship or like a full-on career, definitely brush up on your Excel skills, because I did it a little bit before, because I know my mom and my brother were like, you're going to be using Excel all the time. I didn't realize how much I was going to be using it. So that surprised me a little bit, but I ended up, brushing up on my skills before. So it definitely helped a little bit beforehand.
Right, so you're probably very proficient in that now from that.
I would say, yeah, now I am. It made me a little nervous when my mentor was like, oh, can you do this, this, and this? And I'm like, I can't, but I'll figure it out. And you just you have to figure it out. Sometimes you have to be comfortable not knowing everything, but there's definitely a lot of people to help you along the way.
Okay, great. That almost answers my next question, which is, well, it's a two-parter. I was going to ask you if you felt prepared for your internship, from your, I guess, your courses and your college experience thus far. And then the second part of that, is there something that you learned on the job? So I guess your your advanced Excel experience is something you learned. But so did you feel prepared or?
Yeah, I felt prepared, especially because double majoring in marketing and information systems. So I think my internship was more on the analytical side. So all of my ISM classes prepared me a lot. I mean, I've had classes using Excel, Tableau, Adobe Analytics. I'm in a programming class now. So all of that I was able to apply definitely in my internship.
Okay, thank you very much. I thank you very much for that. And I suppose I also want to ask you, so was it an overall positive experience?
Yeah, I loved it. I was a little nervous because it was virtual. So I was like, I hope I'm not just like sitting at my desk all day and like not knowing what I'm doing. But the way Home Depot works is they give you a mentor, a manager, and a senior manager. So you already off the bat have 3 people to go to ask for help. But I would have people message me all the time, like reaching out to me, like, if you need anything, if you ever need help, like I'll get on a video chat with you and I'll help you. So, I mean, I absolutely love the company. I thought it was super diverse and innovative, and it was an overall really great experience.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Thank you so much, Juliana. I'm going to turn back to Dr. Johnson. I have another question for you, and that is, what's the timeline for applying for summer internships, or can students still apply for summer internships?
Yes, summer internship applications, we're actually receiving them now. We've had students inquire about that, and the College of Business will be allowing students to do in-person or virtual internships this summer. So we have modified our application process to have the appropriate waivers and liabilities in place to ensure that our students are safe, whether they are in person or virtual. So if you do have a summer internship already, you can go on our website, business.fsu.edu, click students and internships, and you can apply there. If you're looking for a summer internship, it's definitely not too late. So I highly encourage you to use all of the resources that we have available, and I'll quickly go through some of those right now. We send out a newsletter every Tuesday to all College of Business students. So make sure that you're reading that newsletter. If you're actively looking for an internship, that newsletter is going to have what we know. So as employers reach out to us and say, hey, I need a business major for whatever the position may be, we make sure that it's linked to that newsletter. We also give you a link to our College of Business jobs and internship board within that newsletter, and also our social media pages. So if you're not following us on social media, you might want to do that, because newsletter goes out on Tuesdays, but if an employer contacts us on Wednesday, we're not going to wait until next Tuesday to let you all know about it. We'll go ahead and include it on those social media pages. So that's one of the benefits for following us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We try to make sure that those pages are specific to business majors. So once you request, we'll verify your status as a business major and then give you access to it. So there's also Knoll Network, which is managed by the Career Center. There are hundreds of thousands of opportunities, both full-time and part-time within that system. So you can definitely use that in your search, even your personal and professional network. Some students will come to us and they've already found their own internship. They didn't use any of the resources that I'm telling you about now. And that's okay. If you find something on your own, go for it. We still have to verify it and make sure that it meets our criteria for course enrollment if you decide to get academic credit. But we just encourage you to use all the resources at your disposal. And then once you find that internship, just make sure you let us know before the third week of the semester. So if it's for this summer, you have the third week of the summer term to let us know about it so we can help you get enrolled.
Thank you. That was a wealth of information there, and it sounds like people definitely need to be following you on social media. So I have a question on the chat here from Tyler, who says he is a freshman. As a freshman, can I submit an application for an internship?
It all depends on the employer. Read the description, see if you meet the criteria that they're looking for, because it is very possible for a freshman to get a quality internship this early on in their career. But I do want to let you know up front that the majority of the employers that I tend to work with prefer students that have a few core classes under their belt before they actually start an internship position. So we tend to see a lot more students in the juniors, seniors category that participate. But I say that not to say that I've never had a freshman or a sophomore come to me with a great internship or find one using our platform. So it's definitely possible. So I do highly encourage you to start early. And if you are able to find something that early in your career, do it. Because that just makes you even more marketable. By the time you're a senior, you might have 4 or 5 internships behind you. Not too long ago, we had one company that they actually focused on freshmen and sophomore. It was Goldman Sachs. A few years back, they reached out to us and they specifically wanted us to target freshmen and sophomores because, for one, they want to get you early, get you acclimated to the company, and make you fall in love with that company so much that by the time you're a senior, there is no other company you want to work for. So I just wanted to throw that out there to let you know that it's not impossible for a freshman to find one as a freshman, but don't get discouraged if you don't find one this early, especially one that's directly related to your major, since you're not officially admitted to the College of Business yet. You still have time.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. That was a great question, and I'm sure there are other people who had a similar question. So, Dr. Johnson, it sounds like somebody could get an internship maybe as a freshman or a sophomore, and perhaps a repeat intern with that company.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, that is possible. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that is kind of interesting. So let's ask you, well, I'm going to ask Adam there for a moment. Adam, what year were you in when you got your first internship?
So that was the summer of my freshman year.
Oh, so you were a freshman,
yes.
Freshman intern.
I'm graduating in 3 years, so that's just the way that all worked out. But
right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. So you're in the accelerated graduation program. And what about you, Juliana? What year were you? I was going to say what grade, but what year were you when you got that internship?
I had a marketing internship going into my junior year, and then going into my senior year. So last summer is when I had my analytics internship with Home Depot.
Okay, great. So we've got quite a range there. Thank you. So I hope that answers your question, Tyler. Now, okay, I have another question probably for Dr. Johnson here from Cynthia. What is your advice for a junior who's recently switched into the College of Business but has not yet taken any core classes yet?
My advice would be to connect with student organizations and get involved with the College of Business as much as possible. Because if you join we have so many student clubs here in the college, specific to certain majors. There's women in business. There's so many things going on in the college. And I think the more involved you get, the more marketable you can become, and the more access you have to different employers and more information you gain. So I would definitely say, stay on top of your email. I know you get a lot of emails, but there are so many things going on, not just College of Business, but university-wide that can help you in your internship search. So stay on top of your emails, get involved with some of the student organizations, have an individual advising session with our career advisor, Rebecca Lovett, like I mentioned earlier. She is our dedicated career advisor for College of Business students. Chat with me. If there's something I can help you with, you can email me and we can Zoom individually and try to figure out what are some other resources here on campus or within the college that might be able to assist you.
Okay, thank you for that. So that sounds like you can be very busy, Cynthia. You can network among students, student organizations. You can also connect with the career services with Dr. Johnson's office and with Rebecca in the Career Center. So there's a lot that you can do. And I think that was a great question because I'm sure quite a lot of students are in that position. They have just, they've just switched over into the college and they're saying, what can I do now? So hopefully that will help out quite a few people, I'm sure, have that kind of question. So here's another. This would be a great situation to be in, but it offers its own challenges. So here's another question. So what do I do if I get more than one offer? And how do I decide which one I want? And how do I politely decline the other one? So there's a challenge.
Well, if you getting more than one offer is a good thing. It's just how you manage it. That's what we want to make sure that you do well. I would weigh the pros and cons of both. Actually, physically write down a list. What do you like about this one? What do you not like about it? And do the same for the other so that you can see what matters most to you. Because one may pay more than the other, but it may not be all about money. But again, I don't know your personal situation, so that's why it's an individual thing that you would need to do. Think about the company culture, the organizational structure, the duties, the tasks. Are they related to what you have envisioned yourself doing for the next few years? And also you have to remember, you're not, when you choose a position, you don't have to feel stuck for life. I mean, people change careers often. I would definitely not want you to take a job and then a month later say, okay, I don't like this anymore, I'm gonna quit. So to try to prevent that, that's why you need to do the work on the front end to try to write down those pros and cons, talk to some people that maybe have worked with that organization, or people that know a little bit more about it than you so that you can get a good feel for it so that when you make your final decision, there is no hesitation there. If you are in a situation where you've already accepted an offer and then you want to go back on that offer, that's another Rebecca situation where I would say schedule a time to talk with our career advisor so you can get some very detailed information on how to do that professionally so that you don't burn any bridges. First of all, try not to do that. Let's try to avoid that at all costs. But if it does need to happen, I would say chat with one of those career advisors so that you can get some detailed advice to do that in a professional manner so you don't burn bridges.
Yes, I think that's some great advice, and never burning those bridges is something that you really want to hold on to because you just don't know what's around the corner next year or when you graduate or, looking into the future. But yeah, let's hope that would be a nice dilemma to have a choice. Before I ask you this next question, Dr. Johnston, I'm going to put out a call to our participants. There are people who are listening in that we're probably going to have to wrap it up here shortly. So if you have any more questions that you want to the panel to address, this will be a good time to pop them in there in the chat. So while you're thinking about that, we have here another question about, have students ever come to you after participating in a bad internship or having a bad internship experience, and what were the red flags there in that situation? Or what are the red flags, I guess, that students will be looking out for?
Well, I have had students that have participated in an internship, taken the class, and at the end of the semester realized that this wasn't the right fit for them. that has happened more than once. And that's one of the benefits actually of taking the class while you're interning, because you actually can take an in-depth look at the internship in real time, complete reflective activities to figure out if this is something that you want to do for a long period of time, or if you want to change your path. So I have had students before that did not regret doing the internship. They actually appreciated the fact that they did it and realized early on that they don't want to do that long term, because it's better to do that as an intern than as a full-time employee. So that's been primarily the experience I've had with students that have been in internships that haven't gone as well as they like. We actually are able to, even within the class, to kind of sit down and write out the pros, what was great and what was not so great. And it always turns out that even the ones that you don't like that well, you ended up learning something you didn't know before. So it wasn't a waste of time. It wasn't as bad as they thought it was, but they did confirm that I don't want to do this again.
And that's such a great point, that you didn't like it, you didn't like the work, you didn't really like anything about it. So you probably learned more from that this is definitely what I don't want to do, and I want to go in a different direction. And you're right, that's just as valuable. So really all your experience can be learning. You can kind of put it to good use. So if you have time, we have one more. We have a question from Connor here on the chat. And he says, are students who are not members of the College of Business, but members of another college, still allowed to work with these departments? Now, I'm not 100% sure what he means there. Perhaps he means your offices or the Career Center. So I guess he's saying students in a different college. So what's the situation with that?
Well, if you are in a different college, you can definitely use the Career Center resources, because that's university-wide. You would be limited to what we can give you access to in the College of Business. You do need to be a College of Business student to access our job board. So let's assume that you're in, I don't know, College of Education, and you found an internship that is business related, and you really want to participate and you would like to get that documented on your transcript. We do have a general business internship course that's available to everyone on campus, as long as the internship is business related and you work a certain number of hours per semester. So in that regard, yes, you can participate in some things we have here. But again, on the other side, there are some resources available in the college that unfortunately we wouldn't be able to give you access to because you're not a College of Business student. But if you want just career advising, yes, our Career Center is university-wide, and every student on campus, regardless of your major, can visit them and get some career assistance.
Okay, well, that was a great question, because I certainly learned something that I didn't know there, that students from other colleges can take a business-oriented internship, and they can get credit for it through that. So that's very useful to know. So thank you. We had a lot of questions for you today, Dr. Johnson. And I guess I'm going to ask our Juliana, is there any sort of wrapping up, anything else that you can think of that you would like to share with people who are out there looking for internships right now?
I think my biggest thing is if you have like family, friends, or like anybody you know, like use your connections. Because personally, I went and I applied on the website for the Home Depot internship, but I reached out to like a family friend who worked for Home Depot, and she ended up sending my resume to HR. So I know it's like a little bit of an uncomfortable thing, but use your like connections, use your network. Like that is like the biggest thing. I probably wouldn't have gotten it if it weren't for her, like pushing my, resume to HR. So I think that's the biggest advice. Or even like messaging people on LinkedIn. I know it sounds weird, but if you see someone that works at a company that has an internship you've applied for and they went to FSU, like in their shoes, I'd probably respond, because I always would want to help out someone that went to FSU. So that's, I think, my biggest advice, I would say.
That's great advice, Juliana. And I'm going to tell you, it's not weird at all. That's exactly what you should do. And network, and use your connections. So thank you very much. Adam, do you have any final little nugget of information to share with everyone?
Really kind of going off of what Juliana just said, even for my internship, that's how that all worked out. It was a situation the exact same way. So those connections, working from there, but also like being proactive and asking those questions to these people and putting in the effort to find those connections and use those connections. And people look, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they'd love to help you out in that type of way. And it's a really good program that we have here at FSU, and it's something that employers want. And it really is a networking and just being proactive, making sure that you are, you know, well-rounded in every single way as possible, and then go from there.
Yes, that's very good advice as well, I think, and people have to use all of the resources at their disposal. So thank you very much for that. And I'd like to thank Dr. Johnson for joining us, thank Adam, and thank Juliana. Now, anybody who's still with us, if you still have questions afterwards, you can direct them to Dr. Johnson. I think Dr. Withers has put the information there in the chat for you. But remember, you can easily find her right in the college in the internship program, and you can find her on the website and get in touch with any follow-up questions that you have. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'm sure everybody who has joined us enjoyed it. We had some good questions, and I think there was a lot of good information out there today. And so thank you very much for being here and for helping the students.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.